Day 85, the first day of winter. The game has changed. We can no longer plant any crops here on our farm in Stardew Valley. We can plant winter seeds to get winter forage, but that's about it. I clear out the coop and I am very happy with the amount of items we have just picked up. All of these items get thrown into the shipping bin. I meet the shadow guy at the bus stop, I track him down to the bush beside the community centre and receive the magnifying glass. Now that we have acquired this, we can start collecting secret notes. I head to Sandy's shop in the desert and purchase 100 beet seeds. I will plant these seeds on Ginger Island. You can collect 5 golden walnuts by harvesting crops on the farm there, hence why I purchased these seeds. I pick up some quality sprinklers on the farm, accept a special order from Gus to bring him 24 eggs, and head to Ginger Island. I clear out some space on the farm here and plant the beet seeds along with a garlic seed, a melon seed, and a wheat seed. Just before the day ends, I decide I want to give Krobus a gold star pumpkin for his birthday. I accidentally toss this pumpkin into a keg. I retrieve a second pumpkin and accidentally complete a quest from Caroline to give her a pumpkin. Third time is the charm as I finally manage to give Krobus a pumpkin on my third attempt. I send my watering can to Clint on day 86. Next, it's time for our first loot box opening of winter. We receive a blue discus, a mineral, a common mushroom, and an apricot in our first loot box. We get ginger ale in our second loot box. Drinking this gives a boost to our luck, so this should come in handy at some point in the future. Next, we get honey. That's it, just plain old honey. I take a quick break from loot box opening to start the wizard's quest before receiving eggplant parmesan, a salmon, and a melon seed. A pair of boots, a slime ball, and a basic log are next. That's another furniture item I will probably never use. Corn seeds, a brazier. Oh, this happened in a previous season as well. I can't pronounce this. Brazier, I believe. Brazier. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry. An artifact, a lamppost, a mineral, a carp, more fish, and a green bean are added to our inventory. I make a stop in the saloon to drop off some eggs for Gus, not enough to complete his special order, but still quite a few. We receive milk, a blueberry, unmilled rice, a parsnip, 2 oysters, more boots, a pepper, a fish, mayonnaise, another apricot, another lamppost, squid ink ravioli, a fiddlehead fern, a parsnip, a flamingo, and a mayonnaise machine. I spend some time fishing at the river where I catch a perch and a lingcod. I head to the sewers and ask Krobus to unlock the entrance to the mutant bug lair. I catch the slimejack, open the chest at the end of the area and receive the dark talisman. This is the item that unlocks the entrance to the next area we need to go to as part of the wizard's quest. I head to the wizard's tower because for some reason I thought the item I had to give him was the dark talisman. This is not the case. I have just wasted quite a bit of time. I want to end the day on a positive note rather than that little oopsie, so I head to the beach where I catch a squid and dig up the ground. This provides us with some winter forage. I make some winter seeds on the morning of day 87. I plant these, then I continue with the wizard's quest. I catch a void salmon in the witch's swamp, followed by a void mayonnaise. I give this void mayonnaise to the goblin henchman, enter the witch's hut, and collect the wizard's ink. I deliver the wizard's ink to the wizard, of course, completing his quest. Now we can purchase obelisks, the gold clock, and Junimo huts for our farm in his tower. Next on the agenda is a trip to Ginger Island. I catch a lionfish, then I open a loot box and receive 2 minerals, a spring seed, and a scythe. This is the first time I've seen a tool in a loot box. Does that mean we can get iridium tools in these? Hopefully we can get some if that's possible. It would be really cool to get an iridium axe or an iridium watering can, for example. We would save money and we wouldn't have to use 5 iridium bars upgrading that tool. I catch a blue discus, open another loot box, then yet another loot box. And that is it for today. Clint sends our watering can back to us on day 88. I finally ask Robin to add a silo to the farm. It's a bit late, but I'm glad I remembered to pick this up in winter. Now we can make sure our animals will have plenty of hay to keep them fed during this season. I ask Clint to crack open some artifact troves and geodes, donate a good few items to the museum, and purchase a star drop from Krobus. I purchase 4 trout soups from Willie, catch the glacier fish, and send a duck feather to Leo. I purchase a rare seed from the travelling cart on day 89. I plant it in the greenhouse, then it's off to Ginger Island. I acquire a golden walnut, then I leave the island and make my way to the Skull Caverns instead. We've almost completed the museum collection at this point, so there's going to be a heavy focus on obtaining geodes during the next week or two. I also picked up an auto-grabber in a chest here. Sweet. I begin day 90 by placing the auto-grabber in the coop. I place a chest beside the auto-grabber so everything that it collects will be placed inside the chest. I ask Robin to build a shed on our farm. Just like pretty much every other Stardew Valley playthrough I've done, we're going to have at least 2 fully upgraded sheds full of kegs. The wine we produce in these sheds will help us raise enough gold to purchase the more expensive items we need to achieve perfection. I purchased 10 stacks of wood, which will almost exclusively be used to make kegs in the future, but I do use some of it to make around 40 tappers. I also make some tree fertilizer. I head to the quarry and use bombs to clear the area out. Not only does this free up a ton of space here, but it also gives us quite a few secret notes. I plant all of the acorns I have, making sure to sprinkle fertilizer on them as I do. Finally, I connect the first few rows of trees to the nearby chest. When they're fully grown and I put tappers on them, all of the oak resin they produce will automatically go into that chest. Day 91 is spent in the Skull Caverns. I won't lie, I'm really beginning to love the Skull Caverns. It's actually pretty satisfying making my way through the floors now. I dig up an artifact on day 92. Clint wants us to defeat 50 bats, which is a nice and easy special order. I wanted to go to Ginger Island, but the Festival of Ice takes place today, so Willie's shop is closed unfortunately. Pam, proving she is a beacon of dedication and commitment, is still willing to drive us to the desert. So I head there and dig up another artifact. It's off to the Festival of Ice for the rest of the day. I pick up a pumpkin soup from the travelling cart because it gives us some bonus luck when we eat it. As always, I do not allow myself to win the fishing competition. This victory is reserved exclusively for Willie. It would legitimately upset me so much if Lewis did not announce him as the winner. I find some fish and a flamingo and a loot box on day 93. I head into Clint's and crack open some geodes and artifact troves. I make a couple of donations to the museum, then it's back to the farm to open some more loot boxes. It feels like every time I get a baked fish in a loot box, it's the only item in that loot box. Interesting. It's off to the beach where I pick up a seed maker, a cockle, a sunflower, an anchovy, and a winter root. It's Ginger Island time now as I show the wheat, melon, and garlic I grew to the frog in the cave on our farm. This earns us 15 golden walnuts. I go home to pick up my flute blocks, then I return to Ginger Island and pay 20 golden walnuts to have the island resort built. I fish up a walnut from a little pond, dig up another walnut, dig up 2 artifact troves, and use my flute blocks to complete the mermaid's puzzle, earning another 5 walnuts. I dig up a walnut in the Pirate Cove, catch a stingray, and harvest the beets that have grown on our farm. This rewards us with another 5 walnuts. I get a chair, 2 shad, and a loom in a loot box, then I dig up yet another golden walnut and a pearl. I get cranberry seeds and a banana pudding in a loot box, and I think at this point it's safe to say that it's absolutely worth exploring Ginger Island for loot boxes. I unlock the bridge to the dig site area, free Professor Snail, and use bombs to break the rocks in this area. I donate 2 items to the field office, open another loot box, then I dig up another walnut along with an ostrich egg. I collect a few more walnuts before the day ends. The words golden walnut and loot box are going to haunt my nightmares. I cannot believe how many times I've said these words today alone. I'm really sorry that you all have to listen to me say those words so many times. I toss the ostrich egg into the shipping bin on day 94. Then I open another loot box. Also, I have collected a total of 80 walnuts at this point. I have a few ideas on how we can get more, so I think it's time for a little golden walnut hunting session. I collect 1 from a bush, earn 2 more by answering 2 questions at the field office, earn another 2 by donating some items in the same place, go fishing at the dig site to pick up the fossilized spine, and try to get a golden coconut from a tree. I had no luck with this, unfortunately. I dig up a snake vertebrae on day 95, then I return to Pelican Town where I visit the quarry and put tappers on the oak trees that have grown. I harvest the winter forage that has appeared, make some more winter seeds and plant all of them. A dinosaur egg has hatched, so I call our new baby dinosaur Feppa. Yeah, I accidentally clicked on the default name it gave us. I didn't actually want to call it that, but oh well, what can you do? I deliver some eggs to Gus, bringing us up to a total of 24, which is what he asked for. Someone has destroyed a loot box again, shocker. I get trout soup, a coconut, a dagger, a pair of shoes, a chanterelle, a leek, some decorative items, a cactus fruit, and Sam's old guitar. I now have 3 of Sam's old guitars. It's getting a bit weird at this point. Also, how many guitars does Sam need? Why has he thrown away 3 of his old guitars? Why did he need 3 in the first place? Are there more broken guitars? Where am I? Who am I? Why am I? It's off to the mines for the rest of the day to collect frozen geodes and defeat bats for Clint's special order. I managed to get a golden coconut on day 96, then I complete the Simon Says game in a cave to earn 3 golden walnuts. I spend the rest of the day fishing for, of course, more golden walnuts. Day 97. We have now collected a total of 91 golden walnuts. We're almost there, we're actually so close now. I dig up a walnut, donate 2 items to the field office, make a monster musk, buy 2 heaters and a good bit of hay from Marnie, and crack open a golden coconut to receive a golden walnut. The rest of the day is spent in the mines collecting frozen geodes and finishing off Clint's special order. Clint sends us the crafting recipe for the geode crusher on the morning of day 98. Also, Gus sends us the mini fridge for completing his special order. I break a muscle node on Ginger Island and receive a golden walnut, then it's off to the volcano dungeon. I use my watering can to make a bridge to the left side of the entrance area, then I go through a door leading to 2 hidden golden walnuts. I spend the majority of the day going through the volcano, defeating monsters and breaking rocks to collect more golden walnuts. I do make time to visit the pirate cave at the end of the day though. I play a game of darts 3 times to earn 3 more walnuts. Also, I managed to play a perfect game. Basically, for this game of darts, you need to score 301 points. A perfect game requires you to earn 60 points 5 times in a row, then earn 1 more point. I actually got pretty nervous during this for some reason, but I managed to do it. Honestly, that might be what I'm most proud of achieving during this entire playthrough so far. I gain access to Mr. Key's walnut room on day 99. I accept his quest to bring him 4 prismatic shards. All of the time I've spent in the Skull Caverns and in the mines has given us a plentiful amount of prismatic shards, so I don't mind giving them away for this quest. I purchase some bait, trout soups and lead bobbers from Willy, then I pay somebody to teleport me back to the farm. After collecting my geodes, I accept an order from Caroline. She wants us to grow and ship 100 pineapples. That is not happening and I do not know why I accepted that quest. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love to complete that quest because the reward is the crafting recipe for the solar panel, but we don't have enough time to grow that many pineapples. I crack open my geodes and I don't receive a ghost crystal or a lunarite, which I believe are the final 2 minerals I need to donate to the museum. I deliver 4 prismatic shards to Mr. Key, completing his order and earning 40 key gems. I use these gems to purchase 100 magic bait. Now it is time to do something I wasn't able to do during spring. It is time to catch the legend. Like I said at the end of spring, magic bait allows us to catch the legend during any season. So, armed with nothing but sheer willpower, I failed to catch the legend. This is going to be rough. Day 100 starts in a delightful way as our beloved loot boxes have appeared again. The first one is actually really good. A solar essence, a topaz and a phoenix ring. As far as I know, when you get knocked out while wearing this ring, you get back half of your maximum health when you wake up. It also can only be found in chests in the volcano dungeon. Our second chest gives us a mineral, an oyster, an egg, 2 sardines and a common mushroom. While footage of me opening loot boxes plays, I want to say something about my plan for the next batch of loot boxes next week. At this point, we're really close to completing the museum collection and catching every fish. Those are 2 of our goals. I said before that when I complete 2 goals, I will adjust the settings of the loot boxes as a reward. We should have both of these goals completed at some point next week, so we're finally going to see what happens when the amount of loot boxes that appear is increased. As well as this, we'll see what happens when the amount of gold we get is increased and the chance of finding a rare item is increased. I am very excited, to say the least. Also, I apologise if these rambles while I'm opening loot boxes aren't your thing. I've tried to find a good balance of me listing out every item I get and doing these rambles, so hopefully the whole loot boxes aspect is still enjoyable for you to watch. I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out so far, but there's always room for improvement, so we'll see how things go. But for now, I'm going to stick with a mix of rambling and listing every item I get. It's off to the night market for the rest of the day, where I enter the submarine and do some fishing to catch the blobfish, the midnight squid, and the spookfish. The only fish that remains for us to catch is, of course, the legend. I turned some coffees I bought in the saloon last night into triple shot espressos on day 101. I harvest the winter forage that has grown and use them and some other winter forage I had to make winter seeds, which I plant and water. Then it's off to the mountain lake, where I once again failed to catch the legend. Look at how many nautilus shells there are at the beach on day 102. Look, I know it's not really a big deal, but I needed something nice after that failed attempt at catching the legend yesterday, so I'm like, this means the world to me right now. I use my remaining key gems to buy 20 more magic bait, just in case, along with 10 key seasoning. I purchased lead bobbers and a couple of trap bobbers from Willy, then I used the key seasoning I bought to make a gold star seafoam pudding. This gives us a +5 to our fishing skill. I eat this, equip a trap bobber to my fishing rod, and prepare for the biggest challenge of this playthrough so far. I caught the legend first try. I really do not understand this game sometimes. I have struggled so much. I have failed to catch the legend so many times before this. Then I eat a seafoam pudding and use a trap bobber and I catch it with no trouble at all. I do not understand. I'm not gonna lie though, I am really proud of myself right now. Not only have we caught the legend, we've also completed the fishing collection, which means that one of our 4 goals for this year has been completed. After purchasing some mega bombs from the dwarf, I head into the mines where I of course collect frozen geodes. I also spent day 103 collecting frozen geodes. Also on day 103, Willy sends us a star drop for completing the fishing collection. It's kind of funny to me how Willy says in his letter that it's been passed down through his family for 1,000 years. Then he finally gives it to someone outside his family and we eat it. I would be a bit annoyed about that if I was Willy. I head to Clint's on day 104 and finally receive the ghost crystal. Once again, I purchase mega bombs from the dwarf and spend the rest of the day as well as day 105 collecting frozen geodes. On day 106, I enter Clint's shop, crack open my geodes and receive lunarite. I donate this to the museum and nothing happens because I forgot to take the dinosaur egg with me. I could have just gone back to my farm and collected it from the chest it was in, but I was so annoyed with myself that I just went to sleep instead. Our winter forage is ready for harvest on day 107. It's been fun harvesting this forage and turning them into seeds, but I'm afraid this is our final harvesting session for winter. I donate a dinosaur egg to the museum, fully completing the collection. I earn a star drop as a reward. But that is not the only reward we receive. No, you see, that's our second goal completed, which means it's time to improve the quality of the loot boxes. The results of this will be seen when we open them tomorrow. In the meantime, I accept an order from Mr. Key, which requires us to basically catch all 5 legendary fish again. I may have accepted his order, but I'm not going to do it. I'm staying well away from fishing, for a while at least. I use 5 walnuts to unlock the mailbox outside our Ginger Island farmhouse, then I use another 20 to have the warp tower built. This allows us to teleport back to Pelican Town from Ginger Island. Alright, let's not waste any time. Day 108 is Loot Box Day. Our first one contains squid ink ravioli, an artifact for the island field office, a fish, and a statue. Green tea and an artifact are found in the second loot box, followed by a sword, 2 copper bars, another statue, a pepper, a cheese press, a bean hot pot, an eel, and a plant. All of these loot boxes were located on the farm too. It feels like we're already getting more loot boxes and more items. But we're not necessarily getting any rare items. That could change though, so we'll see what happens with the rest of the loot boxes. I get a thorns ring in a loot box, which is a good find. There was a keg in that same loot box too. I will say, it almost feels like we're back on day 1 with how quickly our inventory is filling up. I know that might sound like a complaint, but honestly it makes me pretty happy. It's nice getting a ton of items. This does mean, however, that I won't be able to list every item I receive because I would be here for a long time if I did that now that there's more items in every loot box. I get a tuna in a loot box. That's it. It feels like I'm getting a ton of cooked dishes now, which I certainly will not complain about. I also found a pair of genie shoes, so of course I'm going to wear them for the rest of this playthrough. It's been a while since I've seen a deluxe scarecrow, so I was very pleased to get one in a loot box. Meanwhile, the loom has slowly been making more and more appearances. Opening all of these loot boxes has made me so excited to see what happens when I complete another 2 goals. Especially when it comes to increasing the chance of getting a rare item. Will we get an iridium axe, 10 prismatic shards, a sweet gem berry, multiple key gems? Who knows? That does pose the question of how many goals do I set for the second year? I was originally planning on setting 4 goals, but the more goals we have, the more goals we can complete. The more goals we complete, the more times we can adjust the settings of our loot boxes. I will give it some thought and list my goals for the second year at the end of winter. Also, look at this little sneaky loot box. I went through the bushy area to collect a hidden golden walnut and found a loot box here. That really surprised me. Some bad news now, as even on Ginger Island our loot boxes are not safe. Another has been broken. This is always a very sad moment. Day 109 is a very laid back day, which I am pretty grateful for because honestly hunting all of those loot boxes yesterday took a lot out of me. I head to the feast of the Winter Star Festival and give a summer spangle to Caroline. Jody then gives me a purple mushroom. Thanks. On day 110, I have once again made the error of going to Robin's too early. At this point, I fear this is a habit I will not be able to break. Instead of waiting, I head to the mines and do some fishing to collect trash. I accepted a special order from Linus to put 20 pieces of trash into a bin, and this is one of the easiest ways to get that trash. On day 111, Linus is, I don't know. I actually don't know how to describe this. Let's just move on. I head to Robin's. You will notice the time at the top right. It happened. Why? Like, okay, I get it. You want to go for a swim, but during winter, like, it has to be freezing. Why would you? I asked Robin to upgrade one of her sheds. That's what I did. That's the entire. I'm really confused. Why did Linus do that? Alright, day 112. Let's forget about yesterday and focus entirely on today, the final day of our first year. Look at that, we made it. Well done, us. I collect the oak resin that has been deposited in the chest at the quarry, collect a banana from our banana tree and throw it into the shipping bin. I have now officially not completed my goal to do the entire shipping collection. You will notice 2 blank spaces in the screenshots on the screen right now. One is for the banana, which we have just taken care of. The other is for the radioactive bar. I do not have a radioactive bar. I also do not have enough radioactive ore to make a radioactive bar right now. This means we have failed our goal to complete the shipping collection. Sad times. But that is not all. I also reached maximum friendship with every villager. Except Leo. He's at like 2 hearts, so I failed that goal too. So overall we failed 2 goals and completed 2 goals for our first year. You know what? I'm not too disappointed by that. It sucks, yeah, that we failed those goals, but we got really close, so I'm happy with how far we've gotten. Now, let's talk about our goals for year 2. I have decided to set another 4 goals. Number 1, craft every item. Number 2, cook every recipe. Number 3, ask Krobus to be our roommate. And number 4, earn a total of 10 million gold. These goals should keep us on track and help us make steady progress throughout year 2. Of course, I also want to complete the 2 goals I failed this year. Also, at the end of this playthrough, I'm going to make some really big changes to the loot box settings and see how wild things get with them. Anyhoomst, I hope you have enjoyed watching the first year unfold. I will see you all in year 2.